that is a party that was formed, that is a pressure group that was formed under the leadership of former President for Forum for Democratic Change, also a full-time presidential candidate, Dr. Kizza Besigye. We must also remember that prior to elections, we had a pressure group that was People Power, that later transformed into a political party and became the talk now, which is the largest opposition political party in Uganda, looking at representation in parliament. It becomes the main opposition party that we have as a country. Felix, just to begin with, we chose to go into multi-party dispensation. Previously, before the referendum, we're in the movement system, where we're all believing in maybe something similar, but we didn't have these political divides as of now. So Ugandans for a referendum chose that it's wise we free people so that everybody goes to what they believe in and what they think will take this country to a better level in terms of politics and leadership. There came in now competition. We had pressure groups with other likes of Subi and many others. We saw People Power, later and NUP. When we look at these political parties, first to begin with, their role in multi-party dispensation, do you think we are on the right track as a country?
Well, what defines a right track, Robert, is the existence of the noble concepts of good governance, which entail constitutionalism, rule of law, and of course later the aspects of transparency and accountability. And now from these bedrocks, most of these actors, political actors, get the power to do whatever they do. And no wonder you're seeing more political parties and more political coalitions, or what you called earlier on, pressure groups, political pressure groups. The reason why they're rising is because of the existence of the bedrocks. The other ones I've mentioned. Rule of law, constitutionalism, accountability, and transparency. Now, it would work for either sides, that they could come in existence because of the absence of some of those, or because of the presence of some of those. What do I mean? Because of the articulate exercise of constitutionalism in this country, it has opened up a platform for politics to grow, and that is political growth. That is the evidence of political growth.
I love the word articulate constitutionalism.
Definitely. Because of that, we have gotten what we call growth of politicking. Between you and me, at the time of the referendum that brought into play what you want to call the multi-party dispensation, you remember how many political parties were there?
You had the traditional political parties,
maybe two, maybe three.
Yes.
All right? Up till today, and not so many years ago, it's not even more than 30 years, I think. So it's not more than 40 years or 35 years since
the
that
referendum
happened.
is just near here, yes.
But in this short time, you've seen political activities grow. You've seen more politicians get into the political platform, and you've seen more political organizations grow. Again, this is in respect of the kind of the three things I talked about: constitutionalism, rule of law. Because every political association that comes to play will have to cling to the first thing they say: whatever I'm doing it in the law. If you've noticed, that's the first, as the opening remark. It is illegal for us to associate because now the right is there. So there, the aspect of constitutionalism is put to play. So they say it is illegal. The Dr. Kizza Besigye, retired colonel, will tell you what we are doing is
within the confines.
When People Power came, they told you they were legal. Now, they ride on the constitutional aspect for their existence, and later on use the absence of the other 3 or 2 elements for their thriving. They will tell you they are constitutionally in place, but they are here to fight for the absence of the other 2, which is rule of law, accountability, and transparency.
Felix, that was said. Let's now look at the impact into the multi-party dispensation. One, we know that the People's Front for Transformation comes at a time when we've just concluded an election, comes at a time when maybe one believed or thought that, okay, now this is the political direction we are taking. The opposition for over time has been struggling to come up with a unified voice, a unified grouping. All the elections we've had, I think, for the last 15 years, we've seen attempts of the opposition to come together, to merge, to form a formidable coalition, which hasn't been. When NUP came back, when NUP landed on the globe, you remember they are stealing from FDC. They are stealing from Democratic Party. Now here we are seeing the same factor of a pressure group where NUP says we do not have to join the pressure group because we have different approaches of causing change. Democratic Party says any of our members that went into that pressure group did not go as a representative of Democratic Party. They are there on their own, and we cannot be compelled to join the pressure group.
Do you remember when People Power came? Remember what happened?
What it did to some of these political parties.
But for me, not limiting the contextual approach to the topic you brought, Robert. You may want to look at it from a much wider angle than just this whole platform of the Dr. Chiza Besigye most recent, and try to take it back, even as early as before in the 80s. Political coalitions are a fundamental practice in terms of any democracy. Look at what has happened in Israel. The only way they would be able to beat Netanyahu, they had to come up with. Look at what is happening in Germany, even against Merkel, Angela. Look at what happened in Zimbabwe, South Africa. It is not unique. You see, when you get into politics, your major role, you see, as party in leadership has a different role vis-a-vis the one in opposition. But those that in opposition, their major cardinal role is to mount political pressure. You get the point? So, do you know why it's called a pressure group?
Definitely.
It befits the name.
Yes.
You get it? Now, there are various ways to put pressure. There are many ways in terms of politics. However, pressure, the end result of the pressure should be to gain political power. And that's why the guys of the People Power had to contextualize their pressure group. And how did they do this? By getting shares in the political party that was registered, because probably they knew it would be a hard one to register the People Power as well. So they had to get the one already in. They contextualized the pressure into something formidable and legal. How do you contextualize? And this is the problem the Dr. Chiza Besigye has faced continuously, that you cannot contextualize a pressure group within a political party. And with due respect, some of us who see from afar would say, just Banyumia boys.
Or some are looking at this as looking for political relevance.
Again,
looking for political relevance.
What is the end in the relevancy? You get the point? The end in the relevancy, political relevance, should be channeled towards the end. What is the end intention? Is to take power. Now, can you take power with a party, within a party? Contextualize. How does he intend to make this into context, to bring it into context? Because the end result, when Dr. Chiza Besigye wants to get power, and he's not afraid to say it, and even the people who sat with him, they want power. The question is, they must go through a process to get that power. But the end in that pressure group, do we see them being able to get power in that form?
When I was...
You have a person, I saw my senior, the Lord Mayor, Elias Lukwago, beside.
Who is FDC?
FDC, Vice President, Central, something
yes.
like that. I saw my very good Mukaku friend, very good man and very brilliant, also seated, so likes of Kennedy Chambers and many others. The question is, all these people subscribe to parties. You get the point? Now the question is, where do you draw the line? And this was the question that we're asking at the time of people power. Where do you draw the line between DP duties and people power duties?
Allegiance, loyalty there becomes a problem.
Smartly, the Honorable Senator Muchagulanyi, who was then the head of the pressure group, contextualized people power to a political party. And that's why you noticed the challenge. There was a
wave and confusion.
In the language you would call there was a hig hug. There was a hig hug that you had you couldn't step on both DP and both people power because all of them were moving. So you had to find
previously which a pressure group was seemingly inclusive because they were saying we do not care which political party you're coming from. As long as we're on the same mission, we unite together for this, then after, and we can go back to our political parties.
That during the day you would stand with Chagulanyi, Honorable Chagulanyi, in Nope. Then in the evening you're with
Brain Power.
Then during day tomorrow. Now, that is not politicking because you cannot contextualize. You cannot put that kind of politics in context. To serve the purpose, but also to bring a message. Because politics is not for your appreciation. It is for the support you seek. You get it? After we contextualize, or after we put in plan with Chirabo, and we can call Ruben, the president, and we put a plan together. Now, the next duty is selling
that to the masses.
To the masses, because they are the deciding force. Now, what are you going to sell as pressure group X? And that's why people power had to contextualize into Nope. Because after galvanizing
the energies,
they knew that we now have to make this a legal body for us to put in context to make it sellable. But right now, you cannot sell, let's imagine we are a manufacturer. You cannot sell a raw product because on the market it will not pass the test of maybe the National Bureau of Standards or whatever.
Felix, let's look at the impact of this and towards the opposition and its intention of ensuring that they outcast the ruling party in terms of an election, because we think this may all be preparation. Many times we've seen the opposition try to come up with such initiatives of saying, well, abandoning our political parties, we have one mission. Let's come together and push this. But this time around, we are seeing more of divisionalism into the political space. It seems political parties have now sensed that every time you have such a pressure group come up, it weakens the already established institutions. That is why Democratic Party has come out and said, if you are a member of this pressure group, it is very clear. DP is not part. You're not representing Democratic Party in any way. National Unity Platform is saying we are all for the same cause. We have different approaches. You take your approach, we take our approach.
There is something I want to bring it, I beg to bring it in a Uganda saying that, not really a saying, but twine njogera mu Uganda nti mpalanirako. I don't know if you've heard of that. Now, because Robert has an issue with Priscilla, Robert also thinks I must have an issue with. You get the point. In Uganda, normally we used to have that way of talk. Ati mpalanirako, bagalanye bya mpalanirako. Now, and that's the mistake the opposition in Uganda makes. Because they think they're all having the same competitor, they make it look like they have the same agenda. That's wrong. By the mere fact that they are all on the side of opposition doesn't mean they have the same agenda. That's why you saw DP went to Iyala, FDC refused. All right, iPod. They are
NUP is saying we want.
and it's okay. It's okay. The other parties will go. You get the point? You know, and I can try to read into the mind. I've not had a long discussion with the likes of my brother Joel or Robert Sentamo. But I want to believe, from what they've been presenting to us as over the time, over the years, that their agenda, the reason why NUP came up, because what they believed in, their style of politics, their beliefs, their challenges, and their intended traffic or population was not covered by other political parties.
That is the youth.
It doesn't have to be the
Most
youth.
of the youth and those that feel
because if
underprivileged.
everything NUP is fighting for was covered by FDC, would they have come? You get the point? You get the point. But the fact that there is NUP, it means there is something different they think they can offer. And they have proved to the latter. They have proved. That's why when they came, they took over opposition. It means there was something FDC, DP, UPC, JMA was not doing. I don't know if you get the point, and obvious. That the fact that they have been able to do the same thing in a different way has made it like it has qualified their coming onto the platter. You get it? Now, that means that they don't have any mandate, all of them, to be one. And you cannot accuse them. That's why I was laughing at the Honorable Semuju Nganda at the time of voting. Speaker. No, he only had the right to get annoyed for his colleagues in FDC, not for people in opposition. The opposition, and this is the mistake we make, and for all of us, we should stop thinking that the opposition is a cluster. You get it? When you go to the constitution of FDC, it says something different.
Very different.
From the one of DP.
Let's look at this competition. Is it healthy for multi-party?
Which competition?
The political competition we are seeing in political parties right now.
In the opposition particularly?
In the opposition particularly, not as generally multi-parties, but we want to look at the opposition in particular. Because one would say they're offering alternatives that maybe if I don't feel for FDC, I don't confirm to NUP, now at least there's somewhere where I can be. Then we also have those that maybe over a time, they may feel, if you look at the composition of people away from Elias Lukwago, whom you would think that definitely he has to, because it's FDC, and then we see Kiza Besigye, but you will find that many of the people, the party primaries that maybe felt they were sidelined for others, have found a comfort zone, a safe landing zone in this pressure group.
Yeah. You wouldn't be in a position to limit people's ideology and subscription. We may not be in position to do much about it. But I know one thing for a fact, that when you talk about politics, Robert, we don't have permanent positions. Because we will follow ideologies as they present themselves over time. That's why today you have people who have been in NRM and have ended up in. You have the ambitious of this world. He's the commission chief whip or something like that in the NUP.
And so many others.
Thank you. We have people who have been in opposition who are also now in NRM. What am I saying? It is wrong for us to think that we must, you see, and there's an element of selfishness you cannot rule out in politics. It is only good when you are benefiting. Most of the people, if you see political conflict comes in when you start losing the positions. I remember when this time round the Honorable Chagulanyi had to choose the leader of opposition. You can imagine how FDC felt. You can imagine. Because over the years it's been their token. And that now comes with benefits. Now that alone, the challenges, and let me say this without fear of contradiction, one of the major causes of challenges in the opposition is the attachment to politics in terms of benefits. I can repeat it. Political benefits are the biggest challenges to the opposition in Uganda. And because of that, relevancy is on the lips of every politician. And that's why you'll see someone will jump in front of a car because of political benefits. Someone will undress because of political benefits.
So, Felix, what you're remaining
now, the formation of these pressure groups you're saying
is for political benefits, not transformational. Not transformational.
You cannot rule out the issue of political benefits. It could be transformational. But I've told you I've asked you a question, Robert, earlier. You must be able to contextualize every political effort. It must work towards the legalese of the country, of that civil state. How does a pressure group work towards that? And if I speak in particular, the one of the Dr. Chiza Besigye, what is the intention? What is the latter? Like we normally say, what is the latter in that? Does he intend to cause political pressure for Honorable Muriat?
Is
he causing political pressure for Honorable Chagula?
That will bring an element, you know,
or for Robert Mao,
you see,
or for himself.
Felix, I love that because really there is something that over a time, like earlier I said, I see seeking political relevancy. When you look at Dr. Chiza Besigye,
for the benefits,
when you look at Chiza Besigye, I cannot in any way downplay his role to the political scene of this country in terms of the opposition. But you find a time...
What is his role, Robert?
Of course...
that is history.
Felix. Yes, that many, Chiza Besigye in one or the other...
Now that one we shall read about.
You shall read about.
But read about.
Even when you see political parties in Uganda, and very few, if any, can live a period of time but with their founders in absentia.
Robert, I have heard that being said many times, but how many political parties have we had?
Apart from, even when you look at the traditional political parties, I think it's DP that perfected that art. UPC, after the demise of Dr.
Obote,
staggering.
No, it is here.
Staggering. You have a president that is being opposed by a number of people in that political party running in courts here and there. If the day the founder...
So you say your thing.
Come, I think, even when you come to the NRM, the ruling government, I want to guarantee you, it could, detaching founder to a party. Political parties have been in Uganda founded, traditionally they had religion and tribal. But then now the new evolution of political parties has been based more on a person. Even when we talk of NUP today, the principal Kyagulanyi, remove him from NUP, what do you have? If you went and formed another political party, you might find that he has a following. NRM today, if you are Kaguta Museveni, His Excellency, maybe says, you might say it may not live the test of time. So I think Chiza Besigye to still have political relevancy. Today, FDC under Amuriat,
let me ask you
her pressure group may outcompete FDC.
Dr. Chiza Besigye is a very relevant personnel in the politics of this country, and there's no doubt. We can't downplay his role in terms of contributing to the political platform or platter. However, when you put the word relevance, the relevance is meaningless if it's not going to achieve in the end. And that's what I keep on saying. That in as much as he makes press conferences, comes to TVs, he makes what? He says what? He says what? The end of any opposition politician should be taking the seat. So everything you do, it must be pointing you to. But do you think that is pointing him there? Unless he's going to say, because he has not said he has quit FDC. If I understand, even he's supposed to be a mobilization something of some part of Uganda. I think he's part of the mobilization.
But I remember when these new places were being filled in, the likes of Honorable Nabosa who left, Elias Lukwago made a comment that I think the media didn't give due diligence. Why he seemed so concerned that Chiza Besigye seemed nowhere. He kept on saying, we cannot sideline Dr. Chiza Besigye.
You see, we mean who?
They're looking for a reasonable landing of their founder.
You see, Robert, and this I must say without fear, again, of contradiction, politics is like fashion. Kirabo, Edda Mwasimulanga bottom. Here, Ruben will tell us in the sports segment. It was fashionable in his times. He's a man of the classical 80s. They used to put on bell bottoms. But today, the Ruben you see and the one you saw from Anamiyango, you would be surprised. Chirabo, take yourself 20 years ago back. The man you were, Chirabo used to have an afro. I saw one of his photos and he had a very big afro. But today he can't dare think of it. Politics is trendy. It's trendy. The Honorable Simogere is there. Chajafi. Jari.
He's now a mediator.
But today, even if he came here, some of us were speaking with him privately. You don't want him to stop. You don't want. But politics is trendy. What was trending in 2001 when the Honorable SJ, if you remember,
Agenda. It may not be trending today.
And then you remember the Seya. Those things, that was the afros in terms of fashion. Today, the conversation has changed. So it is not us sidelining the likes of Chiza Besigye and the other people. It is not us. It is the system. It is the trend. That's why you see smart people. Like Dr. Gentleman, who was
Abedi Bwanika.
He was smart. He knew the trend. Nagamba. Your president. Kangende mu trend. And the man is in parliament.
The Mukakus remained.
The ones who remained stingy. But they have to know us. We were there. We were there. We read. You were there. Where are you? So the trends, political trends, will evolve. Even Chagulani, 15 years from now or 10, you may be complaining, or if he becomes president, thank God. If he, so, and the smart people,
will go down the records.
That's why you see people like the president, His Excellency, fights, and I use the word fights to stay relevant with the political trends. He knows what to say when. He knows.
And how to play the cards right.
He knows how to stay trendy. Nti omulembe gw'obucupa guzze gwekyekikuamaza bell bottom. People now are cutting. There was a time when people were cutting mohawks. All people were in Kampala.
Back bush.
Well, there were those ones of box cut.
Felix, and political relevancy, political trend is a discussion we can have for the whole day, but all we are looking at is ensuring that we have strong opposition, formidable enough and relevant on the political scene of this country. Well, there's a new kid on the block, a pressure group. Will this add value to the struggle to cause transformation in areas where they feel need be, or will this be a deterrent to proper building and strengthening of oppositional political parties in this country? Ruben is already set to take you through the world of sports, and we cannot forget to remind you that by 11 we will have the Ministry of Health here to give you updates regarding COVID-19. I'll leave you with Ruben. Have a lovely day.